Several months ago.
Two of them is what no parking to the corner. There's no parking, and now takes up 2 spots basically for for residents. Like we were across the street at our friend's house. And cops, how you doing? Friday night, cops never come. Yeah, order right there.
40. This is all 40.
It's tight. There's only like 20, that's only like 26 feet across that.
Tony?
That space is only like 26. The
Whole
whole road.
Come out of the party comes out there. I'm like,
So,
how's this gonna be? See whose car it was. I'm like,
Tony was, that's it, they were all.
Yeah, I
They
understand.
were, but
I understand.
it can be looked at again, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, good deal.
okay.
We need things.
We need, I'm sure Randy will be here.
It's 83. Steve.
The old
They need another. Steve. Steve. They need another signature. Thanks, bud.
Okay, great. Hi, Randy.
Good evening, Randy.
All right, ready?
It's after the appointed time by 1 minute, so let's come to order if we could.
All right.
Tonight's finance meeting has a total of 11 agenda items, but I think agenda item number 11, without any objection, I'd like to move to number 1, so these kind people from Flatbush don't have to sit and wait for a long time. I know they're anxious to get back.
That's you, you're the fine people, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So we're gonna have a discussion, so that'll be item number 11, which should be the last thing in your package, which involves a sewer backup. We're gonna hear all about this, I guess.
Yeah.
A sewer backup on 280 Flatbush Avenue. So Ann Papelian, do I pronounce that right? Yes. Okay, so why don't you want to join us at the table?
Surely. Not because I'm going to cry, but because, let me sit right here. Okay. Because I have pneumonia. Oh, my saga continues. This is just the beginning.
And you're from the great 7th Ward, right?
Is that what ward I'm in?
She's from the 6th ward. She's in the 6th ward.
Sixth Ward, all right.
Close
You're-
enough.
At this point, my mind is
Tony.
boggled.
Oh, all right.
It's totally boggled.
Tony's good.
The
Okay.
great 6th Ward, I knew that.
6th ward,
Alderman
already.
Tony Davis.
I've been on Flatbush Avenue for 7 years, come May. Okay, so I left my house December 16th, went down to Florida, spent holidays with family. January 31st, I get a call from my friend who was watching my house. Annie, you need to come home. I don't know what to do for you. She said, you have water all over your basement. She looked in the house, down the stairs, turned and went back to her house, crying, upset, didn't know what to do. I called my lovely neighbor, Bob and Kathy Broush, to meet Diane back at my house so he could assess the situation. I knew it was very cold, sub-zero weather, a lot of broken pipes. So I immediately called my plumber to get on a list with Sutton's Plumbing in case it's a water pipe. And so Bob went over and met Diane. He said, Ann, you got shit, excuse the French, all over the basement. It was a complete sewer backup. So they called me back, told me that. I then called the water department, referred me to Public Works. In 2014, I had water backup with a fine silt. It was not sewer. My insurance company at that point covered me, paid for everything. But I did call the city. Joshua Williams came, checked it out, said, no, it's not sewer, not figured out what it is. So, well, okay, so didn't push anything then. That was July 2014. September 2014, I called Joshua again. He came and looked because I had another water backup. Just water, no sewer. He came, he gave me his name and number, and he says, I don't believe it's a sewer problem. He checked, don't believe it's a city problem, a sewer problem. So he said, here's my name and number. He said, because I was just calling Public Works, if this happens again, call me personally. Called him from Florida. He went right out. He called me back. He said, it is a city problem. The city will pay for damages. Okay? He then, there were 2 other houses down the street from me. I don't have Tina's last name, but his name is Mike Schroeder and Tina. They have both, I understand, have also filed claims. I'm not totally sure, but I know they have the claim package. So when Joshua found, he said, he told Tina that it was a frozen pipe down the hill going in that first right as you're going down Flatbush Avenue into Colonial Gardens, the first little street right to the right. Mike Schroeder and his wife are still not in their house. Tina's house was cleaned up within a week's time, 10 days. I got back to town Sunday and booked myself at the Hampton Inn. I was at the Hampton Inn for a month because I could not stay because I have respiratory issues anyways. Now I have pneumonia, but in the house because of the fumes. PuroClean was called. They brought in heaters and to dry up the whole area because they needed it dry before they could clean it out. So they brought that down. This happened Thursday night, Friday morning. They had their equipment in there because Bob was opening the house because I wasn't home yet. I got back Sunday afternoon. Monday morning, I went to City Hall, stopped at the mayor's office. He was on the phone, left message, was referred down to the city clerk's office to get the claim form. By Wednesday, I filed the claim, and then, let's go back to Joshua, because Joshua that night, after he had met with Diane and Bob in the basement, he said to them as well, it is a city problem, the city will pay. So then he called me back and said, yes, definitely, it's a city problem. I saw your house, it's a mess, and that the city will pay. And he did tell Tina, like I said, it was a frozen pipe. All right. So then I got back Sunday and filed the claim Wednesday. I'm probably repeating myself here. And then my claim was filed Wednesday, February 6th. I got a phone call first, but the letter dated from the city.
This is of what year?
What year? Oh, 19. This is this year right now. Yeah, 2019, because I didn't pursue with the city prior in 14. Now, before I left, there was a sewer smell when I came into the house, and I was going to call the city, but I noticed there were public works out in front of the house, and then the next day the smell was gone. So okay, so they fixed whatever was there.
And when was that?
It was, I called today to get the date, but once she got my name and she said she'd call me back, she said, no, I can't tell you this over the phone. You need to file a FOIL request, Freedom of Information Act.
Just approximately your estimation, how long?
Prior to December 16th, that's when I left. So it was earlier, within the first 10 days of December, let's say. And the city trucks were out there, and the smell was gone before I left, so I didn't worry about it, but I didn't write the date down. So my house, my house insurance denied my request because they said I don't have sewer backup, because the prior claims in 2014, the insurance companies have the right to terminate or not renew your policy after 3 years, so Travelers Insurance canceled me. That's an issue I have with my insurance company because they gave me a policy that doesn't have sewer backup, which is why I had to have a new policy to begin with. So that's why I'm on your doorstep now. So I'm saying the insurance company told me that, I said, this is ludicrous. She said, you didn't notify us of a problem before the sewer backed up. I said, I'm not in the house. And I said, how would you know that there's a problem with the sewer before it backed up and it's now in your face? And she said, well, nobody notified the city. I said, I called you immediately when I got the information that I had sewer in my basement. What other prior notice would I have? Joshua did tell me that, well, you would know by from flushing your toilet or maybe the water not going down right or whatever, that that could have been a problem. And I said, well, oh, I didn't bring my water bill. No one was in the house using the facilities in the house, so there would be no prior warning for me to notify the city. So I did notify the city as soon as there was a problem. My information, I asked her, how would I know prior to a sewer backup that there was going to be sewage in my entire basement? So she said, well, I said, that's like the pothole syndrome. I know that whole story too. So, but I said, this is ludicrous, and I told her, I said, she kept talking around and around, and I said, I cannot continue this conversation with you because you're not telling me anything I need to know, and I'm probably going to say something that's not going to help me at all. So I ended the conversation with her, called Joshua back, and I said, all right, so where do I go from here? He says, you need to file a claim with the city, and I said, well, that's what I did, and I'm being
When you say you filed
denied.
a claim with the city, can you be more specific?
Yeah.
I just want to caution you guys about asking questions. The notice of claim is an intent to sue. So in other words, she set the precursor for the foundation for litigation. So the proper method is to allow the insurance company to handle it, at which point in time they have the option to start an action. But for you guys to inquire could potentially jeopardize whatever outcome could occur. So based on that, I mean, if she wants to speak and offer her thoughts or information relative to the claim, but in terms of you guys inquiring, I would caution you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my claim is all right here. It was filed to the insurance company, and this is the denial on the insurance from the city insurance company. All right. So there are 2 other houses involved. I do not know. That gentleman works nights. He's not able to come, and Tina has child care issues, so she was going to try, but I don't know if she's here. I have not met her yet. Anyway, so my next step was, you know, when I said, what do I do next? I was told I need to come to the finance committee and get direction on where to go. I had to.
Told by who?
City clerk's office. So I do not know if there's an appeal form to go to the insurance company, because I am saying that I did notify in 2014 that there were sewer issues. And then prior to, I've now, you know, got to do the FOIL request to get all the information, but I'm going to request going all the way back to 214 regarding Flatbush Avenue. We all know that Alms House is there. The surveys that were done, the studies that were done regarding the sewer system, I will, you know, continue to object to that, obviously now, because I have an issue in my basement. The property that I lost, I have not even begun to accumulate pricing for that. I have the bill that at the hotel was $3,000. I have a pod sitting in my driveway because I do not have storage for everything that was in the basement. I brought in American Cleaners to get an estimate because I had a walk-in closet down there. Dry cleaning, washing is $9,000 to $10,000 alone. Puro Clean's bill, I had to take out a home equity loan to cover this. Everybody that I talk to, I say, go home, check your home insurance policies, make sure you have sewer backup coverage. Because shame on me, shame on Rose Kiernan. The mold inspector was brought in because once they started tearing down the walls or where the flooring and everything, they found mold. Because it was, you know, it was down there long enough before the total, you know, somebody had to guarantee money. I had to be approved for a home equity loan before PuroClean would actually physically get in there. They were in there within a week's time, and it took them about 10 days to clean it out, empty it out, clean it out, and we're right down to the studs in the basement. So I have yet to get a rebuild price, but I'm not gonna rebuild, because I can't, there's no way. I did not want to spend my retirement this way and my funding this way. I don't have pricing from Central Hudson regarding all the power fans, equipment, anything else that was going down there, running 24 hours for the last month and a half. They were just pulled out Monday morning here. I have gone through and started doing, you know, my own washing and things once they said that I could use the washer. But then I had to stop going down in the basement because I got sick to do the washing. So I figure I will wash whatever I can, you know, salvage from that, and then just dry clean what I absolutely have to dry clean. But I don't know what more information that I can possibly give you. I'm just here requesting. I have pictures if anybody would like to see pictures. Not that I would encourage anybody to look at pictures.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. The issue is that there was a basement put in down there, bathroom rather, and that's where the sewage came in through the toilet, through the shower, and I don't know what the square footage is down there. That is sewage on the floor.
Okay, I think it's certainly an unfortunate sequence of events, I mean, through a lot of pain. But I'm not sure what jurisdiction or authority this particular committee has to deal with this at the present moment. You filed claims properly, and they are probably under review, or there may even be litigation involved, I don't know. But I appreciate you coming before us, but I don't know at this moment if there's anything else that we can or should be doing in this. Okay? So,
I guess I just really need direction as to what direction that I need to go, you know, in reference to the city helping. You know, when something like this does happen, you know, it's like, I would not wish this on anybody's basement.
no, of course not.
And anybody to do this.
maybe-
And, you know, having, I have obviously had a means, you know, to source, you know, funding to do this, but like I said, that's my retirement.
But as to what to do, I don't know that this committee has the authority or the responsibility or the wish to even advise you on this. That's something that you might be involved with private counsel. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know how to, I'm not gonna advise you on anything, because I'm not qualified to do so. I don't know if any of us are
With the
here.
insurance, you know, is there an appeal process as far as the insurance claim and a claim against the city that, you know, without doing litigation? I mean, it's so costly all the way around, additional cost all the way around, that, you know.
Well, you've been advised by the clerk to come and speak to us. I mean, we're glad you did. We listened to you, but I'm not sure what we can offer you at the present time. I think any recourse that you may be looking for is probably the responsibility of you and any other counsel you may have. That's the only input I could give to this. And any other comments from the committee on this?
I mean, I've spoken to you on the phone.
And you are?
Tony Davis.
Hi. Okay.
You know, I would just keep all your documentation that you've gathered already, and you know, and as we spoke, as I said to you, that you know, you might have to seek counsel, and you know, to try to figure out what the outcome of this be. So, I mean, that's the last thing we had. That conversation was on the phone. So I think that's what, you know, we're not lawyers here, or to, you know, say this way, it's this way or this way. I know that we had a conversation, you were discussing about you might have to seek counsel. And I said at that time, that's your choice to do that. And so that's the only thing.
Yeah, and I've just kind of put that on hold, you know,
Correct,
waiting
right.
to hear on the insurance, you know. And, but if there's, you know, if there's an appeal process with the insurance company that, you know, I don't know if that's up to the city to do, or, you know, I recontact the insurance company. There was no appeal, you know, stated in the denial letter on the insurance company. So I would think that that would, and I know everything has to be filed and done, you know, which it was filed within the 90-day period of time. So,
I don't know what else to really say on that.
Any other comments or questions from the committee?
Have we received your claim? Has the city received your claim?
yes,
They have.
that was February 6th. And they just,
Have you heard anything from the city?
not from the city, from the insurance company. Yeah,
Has the city, do you file a claim with the city of Kingston? Or just with your insurance company?
no, it was with, this is the city claim form.
Uh-huh.
And then the city clerk just sends it off to the insurance company, your insurance company.
Oh,
And that's this here,
okay.
and their response is there.
Did you get a response from the city itself?
No,
Just the insurance company?
yes.
Could Kevin explain how the insurance process works, just for the council members, just to explain the process of how it works with our insurance company?
The city clerk forwards the complaint to our insurance company. They take responsibility and have subrogation rights. They handle it, and then either they accept the claim or deny the claim. They bring an action, then they send it to the council, our outside counsel, to defend the claim. So that's how it works. So it's not like the Corporation Counsel Office is gonna respond to a claim. This is purely going through our insurance carrier, and that's the process.
Then do you know if there's an appeal period or an appeal?
You got the response to the claim that's made.
Mhm.
You've consulted with an attorney,
Mhm.
and so you know what your options are.
Well, I don't know, I worked for the government for 37 years. We had an appeal process, and you go back to, you know, the source and, you know, file. They're saying that there was no,
Prior written notice, right?
no prior notice. I'm saying, yes, there was. And obviously, when I called Public Works today to get the date regarding just the first part of December, that I was shut down, said you need to file a FOIL request. I said, well, that's what I'm doing. And no, it has to be in writing. Okay, so that'll be there, you know, tomorrow, unless there's a mail slot in the city clerk's office down there and drop it in tonight. But I'll go back and request it, you know, it all from 2014 at this point in time regarding, you know, all, you know, public works activity and sewer system on Flatbush Avenue. Let's bring up the almshouse all over again, right? So, you know, that's, it just seems to me that it should be an easier way, you know, to deal with, you know, a serious issue that's been more in the news than not over the last several years. And it just seems that there should be an acknowledgement to prior reports.
Okay, well, I would
There
agree.
should be. And if you put the FOIL request in, if you find that there's been prior written notice, then that's a game changer. But, you know, at this point, that's the position that the insurance company has taken.
Okay.
This council doesn't have the authority to.
And then the other question that just common, person to person, how would you know that there is a frozen sewer pipe?
But ma'am, I'm not even gonna get into that. Again, the process is to file your notice of claim like you've done. And if you think something has been done wrong, you've consulted an attorney, because I've spoken with them. And so you know what your options are. I can't advise you how to handle a claim against the city. But I can tell you that you know the process, and if you think something has been done wrong, feel free to hold the city accountable.
Again, and I don't think there's anything more this committee can do. We don't have the authority, ability, or even probably responsibility to respond to this. There is a process that's ongoing, and you have to follow it. But I thank you for coming before us and telling us the conditions. Other questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So basically, the only recourse is to have it
Okay, we can,
Denied. Consult your attorney
That's the only way out.
and get the advice from your attorney.
Yes, thank you.
okay, can we move to item
Thank you
number?
for your time.
We move to agenda item number 1, budget transfer from playgrounds, parks and rec. First item on the agenda is the budget transfer to cover Kingston City school tax bill on the Barnum Park property in the amount of $4,452.49.
Motion.
Second.
Okay.
3.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, move to number 2. A traffic redesign and upgrades on Broadway, Grand Street, Pine Grove, and Prince Street. You want to speak to this,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Just to give just a quick overview for everybody. Sorry, Patrick,
On in.
stuff there. As many of you have heard, we are
No is not even.
have an opportunity to be able to take a piece of property on Broadway, what's been locally known as Planet Wings until it closed in 2017, to demolish that building and to be able to work on a larger infrastructure project to be able to realign Grand Street, Prince Street, and to Pine Grove so that the intersection can be made much safer. As I said in my letter, there have been, in the last 5 years, 44 accidents at that series of intersections. Many of them vehicle to vehicle, but also a couple that have been vehicle and pedestrian because of the odd turning movements. It really has caused, it causes many motorists in Kingston to not know how to turn left or how to go straight across the intersection with the oncoming traffic. And so this first step and what I'm asking for this evening is to be able to spend $450,000 to purchase the property, and to be able to spend an additional $25,000 to knock down the building and to create a green space there while we work on the larger infrastructure project of actually realigning the intersection. This is a property that's, again, been on the market for a couple of years, and we feel like this is the right time for the city to make this important acquisition to not only beautify Midtown, but also to be able to allow us to do this intersection project in the future. And so there's some documents there, and yes, Tony.
I was gonna wait for you.
Oh, sorry.
The chair. Are you done?
Yeah.
So you were saying this has been vacant for how many years?
So since 2017 is when Planet Wings closed. Well, actually, I think it closed at the end of 2016. But
And,
yeah.
and since that time, the owner of that property had tried to develop some other
They did.
business there.
They did.
And if I recall, that was
Unsuccessful.
unsuccessfully taken down. There was a lot of uproar, if I could say that word, in the press and everything about putting that into a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
And so it's been sitting dormant since probably around 2017.
Yes.
All right. Now, this first part, would it be engineers going out there or whatever to draft how this intersection would look in
Yeah.
afterwards?
Yeah,
potential?
so phase one is to demolish the building and clean up the site, and to be able to make it become at least temporarily usable, while we then go through the process of designing the intersection, securing the necessary funding and contracts with our partners in state government, and then realign the intersection. As you know, many of these DOT projects do take some time, but we feel that we can make the site usable now for the community and for the neighboring businesses, and really just kind of clean it up as compared to the eyesore that it is. I'm assuming this guy, the person who owns it, has been paying his taxes on this, or? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah.
And when you had a discussion with him, or whoever from the city had a discussion, did he have any potential buyers for this property?
So there have been, it was, I think, initially listed on the market for just under 700,000, and through negotiations, you know, he, again, it's, you know, what they say, that, you know, there are other, you know, the market in Kingston right now is very hot for commercial real estate. You know, prices are, you know, definitely higher than they were just a few years ago, and the market is really strong. But this property is also unique in terms of its, you know, difficulty in getting in and out of. And so, you know, we were able to have I think, a successful negotiation, you know, to get the price to what it is today.
Okay. How long is he holding this for? It's for us to make a decision.
Yeah.
As it said that.
You know, we would love to be able to close on this building in May,
Okay.
so that we can get it taken down by the summer to be able to start our process.
So what are you asking of us tonight?
So after speaking with John and looking at our fund balance, you know, we believe that there is ample funding in the fund balance to be able to take it out of that account. And be able to purchase this building basically without bonding, and so we wouldn't have to have the long-term costs that bonding has, as well as the different stipulations that having bonds, you know, puts on properties. By basically taking it out of fund balance, it's basically buying it with cash. You know, so we're able to buy it free and clear without any long-term debt on the city. And you know, because of the financial situation that we are in, you know, we feel that this is a good, appropriate time, and still leaves, you know, ample funding in the fund balance for us to still continue to have, you know, for our protection.
Okay, so will that amount, how much will that cover? Will it cover the cost of the building, the demolition of the building?
Yeah,
Phase one.
so the 475 would come,
475.
yeah, so 450 for the purchase price, and then
Okay.
25,000 for removal of the building and the cleanup of the site to be able to, you know, get it to a usable format.
Is that some in-kind service?
Yeah, so DPW is going to
So
do.
we can use that for other grants,
Yes.
applications
Yeah.
on Broadway?
Yeah, and so the 25,000 is really just the tipping fee removal. You know, we will be able to do the work in-house ourselves.
Okay.
Do you anticipate finishing the whole project, you know, after the purchase of the building and the demolition and then the reconfiguration? So your anticipation is that would be entirely financed by grants yet to be applied for and received?
Yeah, that's our goal. Yep. And so we expect, you know, 2021, the Broadway project will start in 2020, and you know, we would expect with the kind of the timing of the design and implementation of this 2021 project.
Mm-hmm. And presumably if all those efforts failed, then we would have the property and the city could resell it.
Yep.
I know it's been talk in the paper, you know, when it first came out, that this was going to be a park, and can you just speak on that some more?
Sure. Just one of the things when you think of the intersection, as you are sitting at Pine Grove looking across the street, you'll see Planet Wings directly in front of you. You have to imagine that you will, once the intersection project is done, you would drive straight across the intersection right through the middle of the building. And so that will be the center lane, if you will, of the thoroughfare. Everything to the right of that lane, so to the building to the right up toward Dallas Out Wieners, would be green space. It's about 20 feet, 25 feet wide, you know, about 50 feet deep. That would be where what has been proposed would be a small monument to the post office.
I think a lot of people are confused. They think it's going to be a park for children.
Yeah,
That's what
and
yeah.
and so again, it's
Sure.
a green space. There's no playground at all. I'm not sure where the park concept came
I
from.
guess they heard the word park.
Yeah, and so, but no playground, and so it would just be green space. The actual green space that would be getting larger in all of this would be the green space in front of the Millard building, because if, as you imagine the intersection actually shifting closer to Planet Wings, it will actually leave more of some place for some more benches and some green space in front of that building, which I think is good for
Parking staying or not?
Yes, and so there's a proposal to keep the parking. There's also a design that we shared that has no parking.
Yeah, that's
and
the one I
so
saw.
We thought that as part of the community diet process, there can be a discussion. It's metered parking currently. There's about 3 parking spots there. We don't often see people parking there, but it's designed as of now to have parking remain. But again, it could be up to the owners of the Millard building and the community to discuss, do we really want that? Would we rather have a plaza instead with green space? And it really could be a community discussion.
Either way, it's not a game changer.
Yeah, it's 3 spots
I
currently.
can just tell you as a
Yeah.
side here, getting out of Deadwood Street, they need a wider throat at the end there
Yeah.
because they really have a hard time getting by each other coming in and out.
So it's going to allow us to kind of shift that whole area.
Deadwood, you know, goes.
That one right there goes
Yeah.
back towards,
Front of the old bank.
Yeah, okay.
Art building. And then there's the medical arts building, there's a lot of traffic
Yeah.
going through there.
what's his name from Headless Horseman, right? That he's
Yeah, he's there too,
Yeah,
yeah,
touching.
t-shirt place.
So the way the street is now, where the road is right there to the, if you're looking at Wings, to the left of the Wings, that road is not gonna be there, it's gonna be reconfigured, going right through the
Correct.
Planet Wings,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And that would make more space area over there,
Yeah.
what you say, the green,
Yeah.
okay.
Have we, by we I mean you,
Yeah.
have you talked to the locals, the businesses, see how they feel
Yeah,
about it?
we have. I mean, I had an opportunity to talk to the folks at Dallas. I think that, you know, as part of this parcel, there's actually a small driveway behind that building that is actually owned by Planet Wings that the owner of that building has never had access to. I think that at some point I'd probably come back to the council if this is successful, you know, and we should have a conversation about potentially selling that small piece of land to the neighboring property owner so that they actually have a driveway. We don't have to discuss that tonight, but that is something that I did discuss with the property owner next door. And so those are the good, positive discussions. Most of the other folks that we've talked to have been, you know, excited to be able to not have that, you know, building there because it has been sitting vacant for the last couple of years and really has just attracted graffiti. There's broken windows. The maintenance on the site has not been very good. And again, there's not really like the economic development engine there. Yeah. And so I have committee reports actually for
John,
both.
I had another,
Yeah.
John, what does our fund balance currently stand at?
Just for the committee reports.
At 12/31/17, it was 6,978,134.
17 or 8?
At the end of 17, it was 6,978,134. I do project at this time it's going to increase at the end of 18.
The end of 18.
Yeah, it looks like we'll have a surplus for 2018.
All right.
Despite transfer.
I
So
forgot
it's
that
in
was
excess
coming
of $6 million.
It's nearly 7 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's unassigned fund balance. That's not total fund balance. That's just basically the unrestricted fund balance.
Mhm.
Steve, is this gonna be considered like Forsyth Park? Is that what it's gonna be considered, or is this gonna be considered just city land?
It's going to be more similar to Policeman's Park, Fireman's Park.
Okay.
That's Peace Park, maybe.
Yeah.
Those types of kind of green spaces.
Yeah.
Not active recreation area.
No, I didn't mean
Yeah,
that. I meant legally. What's it? Is it the same? Is it legally like I know some parks are parks and.
Yeah, I mean,
is it all the same?
I mean, I think to us, it's, you know, we maintain a variety of different green spaces.
Right.
You know, some could consider this a median. You know, when DOT is done building 587, there's going to be spots just like this. And whether they're considered parkland or whether it's considered green space, it's not really clear. It's really the use of it is, I think, what maybe can define something more of a park compared to a green space or, you know, and how it's treated. So.
I like your idea of calling it a plaza.
Yeah. Yep. And so they could have different names. I mean, I think the initial name that we had thrown back and forth was Post Office Square, something that, you know, kind of gives a nod to the history of what was here, and, you know, maybe doing some murals and some interpretive signage. So.
And the city will maintain it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is a great idea because that intersection behind is just awful. And we all know it. We need to do something about that. And here's an opportunity to do that. That building, every time you go by there, you wince. You know, it's just awful. It gives a terrible impression of the city. Here's a chance to right that wrong and to make it commensurate with what's going on with the Broadway streetscape. I think it's all coming together, and I think 5 years from now, the fact that we spent $475,000 on this is, you know, will long be justified. I really support this. Any other comments, questions? Sure.
Here are the draft committee reports as well. It's just for the record. I know that we scanned and sent these. I don't think the scans came out so well. These are the color versions, and so I'll pass these around just so you can see them. There's 4 different versions. There's 2 of the same type. One has the parking lot. One does not. One has a so this is a parking lot there for the Millard building.
And this is the new.
And that's the new road.
And this is Dallas.
And that's Dallas is here. Yeah.
So this is still our part.
And this would be where the building is today. So,
okay.
Yeah. And then there's a second one without the parking lot. And so I'll pass those down to Doug. Those are the committee reports. And this shows where the building is today when you drive across. So that's what would be removed. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The first committee report reads, from the mayor, authorized the purchase of 500 Broadway, Kingston, New York, for the sum of $450,000, and authorizing the mayor to sign any and all purchase and closing documents necessary for obtaining title to said parcel of land. Now, before I put this on to vote, I'll read the second one because they're aligned. Request the sum, also from the mayor, request the sum of $25,000 to demolish the existing structure at 400 Broadway, Kingston, New York, and removal of all debris at said site. So on the purchase of 500 Broadway for $450,000, entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second. Seconded by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Do you need a separate one for 25 then?
Yeah, that's the second one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So the second, I'll pass that around. Request the sum of $25,000 to demolish the existing structure and removal of all debris. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, carried. Go forward.
And I'll have a budget transfer as well.
What?
Just a budget transfer to pull money from fund balance.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to see the two committee reports.
Should we hold up?
Just, I do want to see them when they come around.
Okay,
Just
we'll
wanna
hold,
make sure I'm
wait till these
consistent
make the
with
rounds, because we have the supporting authorization to remove the money from the fund balance.
Right, but we have to put in a particular line.
Thank you, Tony.
You gotta pick up this business spaces, they're too confusing. Yeah, it was really poorly designed.
I can't even imagine.
I think Doug put it correctly. When you go down that street, you kind of wince when you look at it, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'll be mine.
If you want to move, then I'll come back.
Right there.
That's fine.
All right, let's, while John's putting this together, let's move to the third budget, the third
That's an expensive.
agenda items, 2018
That's an expensive
participatory budgeting funds. This relates to the, from the public input, the participatory budget project. This comes in 2 pieces. Request for $30,000 for the project in Midtown and Uptown for Youth and Development Center.
to move $30,000 into contracted services. And the second piece is $15,000 for special youth development fund. Move $15,000 into community development. That project to be administered by the Office of Economic Community Development. I got two questions. Well, they're both the same. Well, from what account do these monies come from, and where do they go? Where's the money? We're talking about $45,000 in two pieces, $30,000. Where does it come from, and where does it go? What account?
We're gonna take that from contingency. Keep in mind that that money was budgeted in 2018. It wasn't used, so it went into fund balance.
I know.
So now we're gonna take it out of contingency, and we're gonna put it into a transfer to community development, and
Into what?
a transfer to community development. I believe you said a contracted service.
That's for the.
Contract, the 30,000 is for contracted services, and then the 15,000 would be for transfer to
Community development, and I'll do a budgetary transfer for it. I'll write a report for that.
Okay, and one is going to be administered by the Y Farm Project, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is going to be Office of Economic Development. Just need the paperwork to support that.
I will prepare the budgetary transfer for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll table that for 10 minutes and come back, right? Yeah?
Sure, yeah, that will be the, what you have to,
All right.
vote on that.
All right, let's move to item 4, Planning Department Heritage Area Commission to create a new, it's actually a new department, 8030, for administration by the Planning Department of the Heritage Area Commission. We're talking about $700,000, $700. Sorry.
There's a big difference.
Sorry.
That would be a lot of planning.
$700 balanced by a new revenue line. And what's the source of that revenue?
I believe it's the application fees.
The application fees, of which we've already had $50. Okay, all right. Okay. And so we're going to keep the Auburn Cultural Parks budget department in place, 7989, but we're going to create a new one, 8030, to administer the administration of the HAC, correct? I realize you're writing and
Yeah,
listening.
I'm trying to multitask.
Yeah, why don't we just wait for them to get done with
So
that?
these were last two.
Because it seems like everyone that we went through, we had to ask John something, so.
Right, so,
Okay, if you don't mind, let's catch up. Let's go back to the previous item regarding 500 Broadway. The controller, on behalf of the mayor, to provide funding for the acquisition of 500 Broadway and demolition of existing structure. From fund balance, $475,000, to property acquisition, $475,000. So is there a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, so that closes the second.
here's the previous.
Participatory budget.
Those are done. That's the last two.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
I'm writing these as I go.
you catch participatory budget.
I'm writing out one right now.
Okay. So let's just hold up a second so John can catch up with the paperwork.
That's the one around.
Can I split it with Tony? Tony got the fountain.
Yeah.
Thanks for warning me about the one resolution.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
She talked afterwards. She was not, I didn't allow her to be an official witness. So, but she spoke to police afterwards, and she was kind of intense, but she stayed within the 3 minutes, so, you know. Yeah, she didn't go that far. She used the word sham, referring to the meeting, but, you know, other than that, most of the fires for other issues.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, she clearly didn't understand that we could go and, you know, provide social services.
Okay, back to item number 4, participatory budgeting funds. From the controller on behalf of the mayor, 2019 budgetary transfer to fund participatory budget projects from contingency and transfer to community development, right, CD?
It's 15,000 transfer to community development, and 30,000 to contracted services.
Right, 15,000 to community development and 30,000 to control contracted services, which is essentially the Y project.
And what uncontracted service in the what department?
Off-street parking.
Off-street, all right, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion here?
Motion.
Second.
Who said it first?
Doesn't matter. Give it to Tony.
Tony, and who is second? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so now back to item 4, which is the planning department for the Heritage Area Commission, 2 requests for $700. I don't have a committee report on that either.
I'll jump on that one too.
Huh?
I'll jump on that one too.
All right.
Can I, Donald? You help?
Come on. I need a left hand. It'll be ambidextrous.
Sir.
Well, you're gonna have another one for $750 coming up next month.
That
I do have.
That one you can pull. There's no need, there's nothing for the council to do on that one. I already spoke to Sue.
Well, there is a committee report on it.
Yeah, we can. pull
Item
it.
5, well, John is writing this one, a revenue line for the Historic Landmarks Commission. Again, the planning department has been charged with administration of the HLPC Commission. Sue Cahill is asking for a new revenue line, budgeted at $750. Usually it's big numbers. So it reads, from planning for the HLPC, request to amend FY 2019 budget to include revenue line for the Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission per adopted schedule. Grant, create new revenue line of $750.
Motion.
No. Can I just make a recommendation?
Yeah.
To pull that, the council doesn't need to take any action on this. We've already approved the fee. If you see, it's a one-sided transfer.
Right.
The council doesn't need to, it's basically just an accounting issue that we just need to create an account, our chart of accounts for it. She's not asking for any appropriation of funds at this point.
They're coupled together.
Right. So there's nothing that the council needs to do.
So I motion that we pull this out of the committee.
Second.
Okay, so we just X out, huh?
Yes.
Okay, any questions?
And I hold on.
Guess you have to ask
So
if
that
everybody's
was
okay with
your
that.
motion. Is there a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
I did speak with her today about it. Or today or yesterday.
I heard you.
It's been busy.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay. All right, so.
catching up as soon as we have number 4. So back to item 4, budget line for the Heritage Area Commission. Controller on behalf of planning requests 2019 budgetary transfer as per tax to provide separate accounting for Heritage Area Commission. So we're gonna put transfer $700 from where?
It's A1 8030.5485.
The 80 is the new department.
Right, they're both new department. We're creating a
New
revenue
department.
line which will fund the contracted.
And that $700 is coming from fees.
From fees,
Yeah.
right.
All
It's
right.
revenue being used to fund the expenses.
Motion here?
Motion. Second.
Who had it? Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's move on to the budget transfer for the New York State retirement cost. This is item number 6. This is to transfer into New York State retirement about, looks like about 20, 30 accounts, $459,545 coming out of other retirement accounts, but the bulk of which is coming from the fund balance. This is something that we approved back when?
Early in the year, I brought a resolution, a forwarded communication to the common council to use some of the fund balance to use those monies to pay off previous amortizations from the New York State retirement system, specifically those amortizations with the highest interest rates that was approved by the common council. And I could give you a resolution number if you needed it. So that was previously approved by the common council. We've since did this in December and January of this year. And approximately $600,000 for amortizations left.
So 2018 budgetary transfer, 2018 budgetary transfer to cover New York State retirement system costs, including amounts used to pay off 2012 and 2014 amortization, as John said, as previously approved by the Common Council. I hear a motion.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, item 7, open space grant unspent funds. This is from Julie Noble, asking to transfer, let's see, I gotta understand this one. We have a grant from the New York State DEC, New York State Aid, Culture and Education, and we want to move some of the money that's associated with the Zoo and Nature Center, Department 7240, and we're going to use that. Some of the monies from that grant. The grant was, I forget what the grant was.
Doug, it's to do a open space plan.
Yeah.
And so when, with these grants, when they do work in one fiscal year and it's a grant that runs multiple fiscal years, whatever we don't spend that year, we have to roll over to the next year to keep working on the same grant. And so we have to come back once a year, you know, on these multi-year grants. And so that's whatever was unspent last year gets rolled over and we start spending again this year with no new net cost or anything to the city.
Financial impact is zero. There's some match funding, but that comes from in-kind donations of staff and volunteer department.
These are the non-capital grants.
Yeah.
I do have one small change on the account on that.
Okay. Zero impact.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Rennie. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Rennie O'Reilly David.
Okay,
Is Rennie Davis still on?
Kristen was going to give a grant update.
She's right behind you.
Hey.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Here I am.
Don't feel quiet.
Okay. Great, so I'm just gonna give an update on grants activity. And I want to introduce Ruthann Devitt Frank. She's our new grants manager. So she just started.
Welcome. Welcome.
She
How
started.
long have you been here?
Oh, boy, you know everything by now, right?
Yeah.
Here, come on, sit here. Sit here. Sit here. Pull a chair. Sit. Okay, right up there.
So Ruthann comes
I'm
from.
sorry, could I just, sorry, your name again?
Ruth Ann Devitt hyphen Frank.
Ruth Ann.
DEV, like Victor,
Yeah.
ITT
Huh?
hyphen FRANK.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So Ruthann comes from UPAC. She was previously the Director of Development at UPAC, or the Bardavon. So we're really excited to have her expertise. And really excited to have some extra help, as you're going to learn tonight when you look at this massive amount of information. So we have a new Office of Grants Management. I'm really excited about that because we're, basically I see our role as managing projects, grant projects across many departments in the city. So our office will be in the grants finance role in a lot of ways. And then we'll be actually managing some projects. But we won't manage every project in the city. And you'll see that we have a grants manager and a project manager for each grant project. So for example, Julie Noble, which you just got a communication from, is managing the open space grant. She's managing the program aspects of it. That's really the role of the Parks Department, open space. But we have a role on the back end with the grant reporting and the finance. And the grants office is also working really closely with John Toohey and the comptroller's office. Pat Massa, who I don't know if you know him, but he's part-time. He does a lot of the background work. He's part-time in John's office and part-time in my office, and so it's really helped with communication and just helping us have better communication and better accounting for our grants. So I'm passing out an update, so you can take one and pass it around. It's a massive amount of information. John, you can have one too if you want. We have enough.
Good. You got one?
He doesn't have enough paperwork.
And so you'll notice that it says draft on it, and in the spirit of the very, very old adage that it takes a village to raise a grant, I'm sharing it with you in a draft form. I know last time Jim caught something on a draft that I shared, and so I would love to have any of your feedback either tonight or by the end of next week on anything that you might notice. If a number's off, I have one actually. If you notice the numbers off, or if you notice a better way that we could give a status update, you maybe read this and you know, we're immersed in it every day, and so communicating to the public about it is challenging. I know Ruth Ann was learning about LDSA procurement with New York State DOT this week. That doesn't mean anything to most of the public. So if you have a suggestion as to how we could share about this information, I'm also happy to hear that.
These are all open. These are all open grants, if you want to say.
Yep, these
projects.
are all open projects.
So none of them close yet.
No, we have some at the end.
Okay.
Sorry, any that have a number are still open, not closed yet.
Okay.
So I counted the number of grants that we have for the first time today. We have 65 or 64 grants. So that's a lot. And we the total project costs for all of the grants is about 50.3 million. And the grant funding we have available for those project costs is 36.4 million, and the match is about 14 million. I do want to mention that one of these projects in here is a $7.9 million wastewater treatment plant that was previously just a city project that we had to do, and we were able to secure a $1.9 million grant for it to help with those project costs. So while some might say, wow, that's a lot of match, remember that when a project gets onto the sheet, that's because there's some grant funding, and we might be taking away from a project. We might be adding grant funding to a project that the city is already paying for. So that's just something to know.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Does that include in-kind services in that?
Yes, that includes in-kind.
You don't have a breakout on
yeah, I have a little bit of a breakout. There's a line that says match breakdown at the top. So I do have a little bit of a breakout, but I don't have it broken down in numbers. I just have it described.
Match service, you mean like city staff times?
Yeah. Yeah. And in some ways, it's a little bit hard to break that out until the grant's done. Because, you know, as you're doing the project, the match funding may fluctuate. You may, you know, have more volunteers join. You might get a donation. So the match breakdown can fluctuate, and you won't really know the number until the grant's totally done. So I just want to give a few highlights. I wasn't planning on going through this one by one, but yeah, I just got to give a few highlights from where we are with grant projects. Many of you might be interested to hear about the DRI, the $10 million grant that we got.
Which one is that?
Those are that's on the first page.
Okay.
What number?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 projects that are part of the $10 million grant, and just.
Oh, I see. You subtotaled it at 10 million.
Yep.
Yep, I see. Yeah.
So those are we just received a draft contracts from the state, and so we'll be working with mostly the Department of State to get those contracts in order and get those projects started. So that's something that's different than a month ago. We hadn't heard from the state yet, so that's exciting. As many of you know, we have a number of waterfront project designs that are underway. We have consultants procured and doing all sorts of survey work and design work. So we have several RFPs coming out this spring. We have a new grant for combined sewer project design, Kingston Point Rail Trail Phase 2 design, Franklin Street sidewalk project design. We also have a mobile portable stage that's Ruth Ann's first project that we're going to be putting out a bid for that.
Where's that at in here? I'm sorry.
I'm not really going in order. I'm just sort of giving some highlights, but that mobile portable stage is 63. So it's on the very last page. The waterfront projects I was talking about were starting on page 2. There's 7, 8, 9, 10. Do folks want to ask questions about specific projects, or?
There's mobile portable stage. So is this similar, what's the difference between that and the stage that was set up for St. Patrick's Day this past week up on Broadway? Or across from Governor Clinton?
Well, I don't know what that stage is like, but the one that we're ordering or procuring is, it's basically like a tractor trailer that's pretty large, and Dan might know the specs better than I do, but DPW will be able to move it around, and community groups would be able to rent it and use it for a pretty large event.
I'm sorry.
It does fold to a degree, so it's not constantly out as a full-size stage.
So what was the difference that we had up there that they used to play the bands
Yeah, so
at?
the AOH owns that stage.
That stage.
And that is relatively small, so I believe that we're looking at a stage area that's about 30 feet by 24.
24 by 30,
24 by 30, and so that will be able to hold a much larger band setup, and different types of lighting. It will have rigging for lighting and speakers that, again, make the current stage, and I think that the general consensus is that stage that's used is very minimal in the ability that it has to be used, and because it is not owned by the city, you know, it's, so we're hopeful though, if you imagine the type of stage that we have for 4th of July that gets rented on a roundabout with the full set of, or the Italian festival, that's the type of stage that we're talking.
Okay. All right.
The other one also leaks when it rains.
Right, the other one does.
Yeah.
It does, so.
All right. Thank you.
So some highlights on the Kingston Green Line projects that start on page 5. Many of you probably know Kingston Point Rail Trail is under construction right now, and I think Merritt was probably out there today working near Garrigan Drive on the bridges. We're about to start a very small sidewalk rehabilitation project on Cornell Street from basically Dysings to the end of the Cornell Street parking lot.
Bless you.
Small project.
From Dyson's to the Cornell parking lot?
From Dysings to the end of the Cornell Street parking lot.
And what are we doing there?
It's sidewalk rehabilitation.
Okay, because there's a sidewalk there, right?
Yep, there's a sidewalk there. We had a grant through Central Hudson to improve specifically only Cornell Street, and we spent some of it on the bicycle sharrows and signs that are out there currently, but the estimate for that project was I think it was $220,000 to do the painting and the signs, and then we said, well, let's do it in-house with our own DPW, and they estimated maybe $120,000, and then we did it, and they spent $17,000. 17. And so we had money left over in the grant, and
so what are you doing
so we're rehabilitating the sidewalks and reorienting the parking lot entrances.
I was going to say, is there entrances from the parking lot there that, you know, walk down handicap accessible through there that, you know, people going to UPAC or whatever?
Yeah, it'll be handicap accessible.
I didn't think it was yet. Okay.
Really, right now the curbs don't have ADA ramps.
Okay.
The whole sidewalk will be ADA accessible, and there will be new plantings and just sort of an upgrade of the area.
Okay. And which one is that?
That one is number, and I'm just sharing about that one. It's under number 21. It's like part of this huge Kingston connectivity project that has multiple grants. But we had this small Central Hudson grant that you can only use for Cornell Street. Yeah.
All right.
So So Broadway, I think the mayor already mentioned, but we have submitted advanced detailed plans to DOT. And right-of-way closings some of them are scheduled for next week, so the right-of-way acquisition process is sort of what holds up that project. You know, the design can move quickly, but the right-of-way doesn't move so quickly, so.
Does that show the roundabout in here too?
No, because the roundabout is not ours. It doesn't have any grant funding, so we don't manage that project, and that's a New York State DOT project on DOT property.
Is there county funding in that also, or is it all strictly state?
That project has betterments that I think you probably approved for sewer betterments. But it also has, I don't think it has any county funding in it.
It's strictly state.
Yeah. The mayor might know better. I know there was a lot.
I think it's all state, federal,
Yeah, it's all state.
Yeah. No local match, no local funding.
You could talk about the combined sewer project.
The combined sewer project, that is a project that's down, so Sean Coster, he's in the engineering department, is managing that one. It's down in the waterfront, I believe, on the streets that are, I've forgotten the names, but if you're at Roundout Gardens and you're looking up the hills.
Yeah, so Hasbrook Avenue, right?
Yeah.
So the Hasbrook Avenue sewer shed is the kind of the area of the city that we have most of our combined sewer overflows from. And so there was a grant that we received to be able to make some improvements to be able to have less overflows. And so there was a report that was done that kind of looked at what we could do, and we then submitted that report to the state and got the $600,000 in funding. So we could go over the specifics at some point, but we're in the process now of designing that and getting that project started.
Are they need for East Chester Street?
I don't think it will solve that problem.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
There's a report that has the combined sewer, the design for over, I think it was 5 phases.
Yeah, this is just phase 1. Eventually.
Yeah. So it's Hasbrook Delaware Parklet. If you haven't been there, the construction is complete for the first phase. We're working with the Kingston Land Trust to work on landscape design now that we've completed the sidewalks and all of the hardscape.
What was this?
Hasbrook Delaware Parklet is what we call the project. It's down at Hasbrook and Delaware, the intersection.
Okay.
Kind of near the
squiggly
Livingston
sidewalk.
Street.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Reconfigured the intersection there, so it's much easier to navigate.
Sorry?
And reconfigured the intersection there too,
yeah.
so it's easier to navigate.
Yeah, or safer. Some people might.
That's what I
Can't go
say
really left
not-
anymore out of, or you can't go
Yeah.
in right either, so there's no
Yeah.
accident on Delaware.
So the goal was safety.
Yeah,
There's addition of speed tables.
I see that.
Not speed hump, not speed bump, speed
Now
tables.
everybody wants one.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know that, right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Henry Street, if you didn't know, we had a public meeting last week. Was it last week? At the George Washington School for the first reveal of the preliminary design, and you can go on the website and give comments on that design until the end of March. So if you haven't had a chance, you can go check it out. It's just the city website /Henry Street. Hurley Ave, we got preliminary design approval by DOT this week, so that was exciting. So we hope that construction will happen in late summer. We still have lots of hurdles to get through with DOT on that one, but we hope we'll be able to get there. Electric charging stations were installed. Those grants are really, we're just monitoring the electricity use, and so those are installed in parking lots. We have a lot of new projects underway, which include Wilbur Ave paving, pedestrian and bicycle master plan, Flatbush and Foxhall sidewalks, and a pedestrian safety action plan
Can't come
project.
fast enough.
We also have a new recycling education grant, so those are in there. And then we have a number of grants that we're closing out, which include the natural resources inventory, Forsyth Park we're about to close out, urban tree forestry grant, closing out, vital statistics in the clerk's office we're working on the closeout, and also some software grant we got for the community development office. So there's a lot going on in the grant office. So does anybody have any other questions? Or
Was there any over budget ones?
any over budget? At this point, not that I can think
That's
of.
what I like to hear. On time, on budget.
Yeah, well, we'll see with Kingston Point Retro. That's the one that's underway right now, so. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, a lot going on, keep it going, this is wonderful.
Yeah, so my hope is
This
to,
is all building really great stuff in the city.
my hope is to bring one of these to you on a quarterly basis if I can. It's actually a really good exercise for our office to do this because we go through all the grants and it's like checking in, see where everything is. We'll also have a new Office of Grants Management webpage on the website. And you'll notice over here that some of these are in a darker gray. That means that the website hasn't been created yet, or that web page isn't created yet. But we plan to get a project web page for every grant project, what that's listed here, by the end of April. So that if you want to find out about any grant project, you can go to the web page, find out who the project manager is, get a little status update, and be able to follow things that are in your neighborhood or that you care about.
Okay.
This is a great format. Lays it all out there. Awesome.
Well, it does challenge your reading skills. It is very teeny. I don't know how to make it any bigger.
I mean,
We'll
these
work
are all
on
the
it.
information on it.
That's what it's looking at if you want to read it. I'm thinking you can get it any bigger.
Yeah.
But no.
If anybody has feedback, please get it to me by Friday or questions and next week, and then we'll put a finalized copy on the website by the end of March.
Okay, great. Justin, Roseanne, thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting all of you too. Thanks.
Okay, let's move to CSEA, the City of Kingston.
Did you already go over the pipeline comment?
No, we didn't.
I mean, before we ask everybody to step out and go over everything that's still on
Well,
the
we
agenda.
can invert here.
I have no problem waiting.
All right,
Let's just go over the pipeline.
all right, let's do the pipeline, which is number 9, not 10. 10. What are those numbers? Let's see, 8.
Thank you.
Isn't this, we received this communication earlier, Jim?
Steve, you want to?
Yeah, so I think that what we had said the last time we came to finance was that we put out a survey. And so I wanted to just take the opportunity, I guess I'll come to the table, but I emailed this all to you earlier, but just in case you don't have it yet, because you didn't get your email, that's just my email printed.
I have it. We have it.
Did everyone get it?
I have it, I don't know everybody else.
And so basically, the survey, and we're gonna publicly release this tomorrow on our website. But basically, we had a great turnout. We had over 600 people take the public survey on our Survey Monkey.
This was 3 questions on the survey, right?
Yeah, basically.
That was good.
Yeah, it was very short, so we got people to take it quickly. And as it says in here, and as the chart shows, from the public, 77% were in favor of repairing and rebuilding the pipeline canopies, while 23% favored tearing them down and repairing the sides. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
And so that was for the public survey. There was then the paper survey that was sent out to all of the actual.
Same survey?
Same question, same survey, just done differently because we wanted to be able to allow the business owners to kind of take it anonymously, just like we gave the public that same opportunity. So they each were sent a specific paper survey, and they were each given also a link to an online survey if they wanted to take that as well. So out of that, we had 19 of the 44 property owners, so we didn't get all 44 to respond to us.
Less than half.
Less than half. But out of that, you'll see that 74% of those were in favor of tearing down the bike plan and repairing the facades.
And these, you're talking property owners, not business owners.
Correct, property owners. Those that are owners of the property that that we have easements with. And 26% were in favor of repairing.
Do you have any idea why the response rate was that low?
That's actually high.
The busy, not here, what, I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that based on, some surveys that are sent out, we don't know, exactly who responded to which ones, but our sense is that those owners that have active businesses that are there responded, and the owners of buildings that are either vacant or not, or that are owned by out of Kingston residents generally did not respond.
So the business owners, non-property owners are included in the 628?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so I just wanted to be able to provide this with you tonight.
I guess, and I know I'm interrupting a lot,
yeah,
but
no,
do you have any read of how the business, that sector respond? Business owners, but not property owners?
So what we can do, I had Summer just give a quick summary here for us to share. There are, for those that selected out of those 3 questions, one was if you wanted to leave your name, you could. You could choose whether you were a resident, a business owner, something like that. And so there were some that checked business owner, and some then left detailed comments. And so I'd be happy to share the detailed comments with you. I don't know, if there's 628 detailed comments on there.
How many?
Well, 628 people, and many people left comments. And so, yeah, and so.
Well, they asked for them,
yeah.
so they left them.
Yep, so it's good. And so I think Summer was able to, summarize some of their comments here for each of the surveys. But again, we can provide all of that to you. But I do just want to get this in your hands and just remind you that, as you continue discussions about, what to do here, we do still have that section, in front of the, I think it's 40 or 44 North Front Street that has the section that does need to be repaired or taken down sometime soon. So I just wanted to leave that, and it's up to you guys to decide how you want to move forward. But
could you make the full comments available to us soon?
Yep.
That'd be great.
It's an Excel spreadsheet, and so we can send that to you. It's a you just have to scroll over and you'll see them. They instead of like if you think of a traditional Word document that goes down, these go across. And they just keep going across, and so you just have to kind of follow the cell across the document. But we'll get that to all of you tomorrow.
Well, you've given us a top-down summary here.
Yeah.
And you're going to give us a spreadsheet which gives us some detail.
Yeah.
And then I would hope that we would be in a position that maybe next month we could come to a decision on that.
Well, I'm looking, John, are you requesting a special finance April 1st?
First or it's the Monday.
Yes, the first.
First?
April Fool's Day, first.
Yes.
But, that would be another, I just happened to see that, but that would be another opportunity if you want to vote earlier, because if you can get it through finance April 1st, then maybe April
Sure.
or
Yeah, we
or
could deal
May,
with
they
it
can
April
start
2nd on the floor.
fixing that other one, otherwise you're gonna wait another whole month.
Yeah.
That's already on the website, or is finance?
Yeah, he sent me.
They got the pylons. 2 posts holding it up?
No.
She sent it to me, so.
Oh, okay, so it hasn't been
I
out.
know he's requesting it, so. That's.
All right, so why don't you distribute that, and we'll discuss it at special finance at maybe shouldn't be any later than 6:30, because this may take a while.
Well, I don't know, it's year-end stuff, right?
Yeah, we're gonna condense it where it should only be half dozen transfers.
I mean, your
So
stuff ought to,
It should move pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
so most of the meeting would probably be on this.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't wanna have a 15-minute session. I'm just suggesting we start at 6:30.
I think the budget transfers will take you 15
And
minutes.
if
It's gonna take you
caucus is
longer to sign
delayed,
them
caucus
than
is
anything.
delayed. This is a big issue.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
So
so
when
you're
it's gonna
saying,
start?
You'll have everybody here to weigh in too.
Huh?
Caucus. Everybody should be arriving to weigh in, caucus and all.
Yeah.
The aldermen, you know what I mean?
yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, anything more for the mayor?
Thanks. All right.
Okay, so when
Thank you.
would we see that?
Oh, the spreadsheet?
Yeah.
I can send it to you from my computer right now. So it'll be in your inbox before you go home tonight.
Okay, thank you. The CSEA, City Kingston Lab, Kevin?
So much more to go into executive session to discuss the CSEA case, city lab.
Okay,
I motion.
is there a second to go into executive session to discuss? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
On the numbers.
Okay,